Hi BookTube! I'm here with my August wrap-up. At the beginning of the month I intended to read a graphic novel a day, which would have been 31 graphic novels. I didn't accomplish that. I read 21 graphic novels though, so that's pretty cool. And I read one novel. I spent most of the month watching Stargate SG-1 quite enjoyably. I watched 3 seasons, so yeah. Let's get into it. So I read Stargate Atlantis Nightfall was the novel by James Swallow. I really enjoyed the one that I read previously called Halcyon, because the world that he built was really cool. This world was a little more generic to Stargate, I guess you can say, kind of, you know, like the primitive type worlds that they tend to encounter a lot on the show. But it has the Asgards in it, so it's pretty cool in that aspect. And still like a really good novel overall. Yeah, it's about these primitive people being abducted by the Asgard. So there's lots of like X-File references and kind of like jabs at that. So let's get into the graphic novels. I'm gonna try and bring them up on my phone to show you, and I should have had this prepared. So let's just start with 300 by Frank Miller and Lynn Valley. That's what the cover kind of looks like. It's bigger than that. They're like full page things. I use Comic Rack on my phone to read comics. I really like it. So this is, if you don't know about 300, it's about Spartan warriors who are going to fight the Persians, but with only 300 warriors and a bunch of other Greeks. And it is almost exactly like the movie, with the voiceovers and the action and the different things that are happening. That was enjoyable. Then I read this awesome one, A Contract with God by Will Eisner. That's the cover there. And this is the first graphic novel. So what that means is this is the first time that graphic novel was used to describe this format. But it's interesting because there's no panels, it's kind of picture text, you know, picture text type thing. Yeah, and it's really cool because it's all about these people who live in this building, and they're Jewish. So it was, you know, a thing that I'd never encountered before in a graphic novel. It was really quite interesting. Then I decided I need to brush up on some Superman stuff because I'm always reading like the Batman versus Superman stuff. I wanted just Superman, so I read All-Star Superman. It's not a spoiler, you learn in the beginning that he is dying, and this is him, you know, trying to accomplish things before he finally dies. And I really love the colors in this. They're so bright and beautiful, and just really like, even just see the colors there, just so like engaging. A feast for the eyes. There's a guy in a rainbow coat. I loved that guy. And then I read Ghost World, which is one of those ones that I probably should have read in high school because now I'm kind of like, it really totally missed the mark for me, but would have been good in high school. It's about these two girls. Oh, sorry, that's the end of it there. These two girls who are, you know, just graduating high school and are kind of like the weird hipster kids. Yeah. And I also read, oh, sorry, Old Man Logan. I don't tend to read a lot of Marvel, but this is highly recommended. So basically the villains have taken over all of the United States, and all the superheroes are either dead, doing other things, or in the case of Wolverine, retired and now going by the name of Logan, living with his family. And it's funny because the Hulk children are rednecks and they're his landlords. Then he gets recruited by Hawkeye right here to do a delivery, and you encounter all sorts of cool people and new superheroes and villains and the like. So yeah, that's it for e-comics, and I'll show you the other physical comics I read, Archie Volume 1, which I did a video on because I was super disappointed in how flat the characters were. Like, there's so much more depth to the characters, and you know, the little panels, you know, the little things that you buy at the supermarket, than there were on here. Like, you know, the big huge conflict is that Betty wears makeup, and it's just like I just was not happy with that. I read another Superman. This is The Death of Superman. It's all about him fighting Doomsday, and I really like Doomsday because he's just a bad guy because he's just a bad guy. There's no ulterior motive, you know, he's not trying to seek revenge, he's not trying to control the world, he's just a bad guy who wants to destroy everything. And it obviously results in Superman's death. Then I read The Complete Persepolis by Margie and Satrapi, and I'm gonna do a separate video on this. Everyone I think has heard of this. You can see the pictures there. And it's about a young girl growing up during the Iranian Revolution, and then being sent away to France or Germany. I can't remember. She gets sent away to Europe as a teenager, and I'll tell you right now, I really did not like her character. I really didn't. And I had a problem with that, and I'm going to talk about it in a different video. Then I read The Last Dragon by Jane Yolen and Rebecca Guay. I love the art in here. It's a very, you know, fairy tale-esque fantasy story, but I love the drawing. It was very detailed. Yeah, quite beautiful about a dragon and how to defeat it. The Dream Gang by Brendan McCarthy. Again, the colors in this are amazing, even just when it's monochrome, and then you get pages like this, and the gray pages. It's just so very, like, colorful, but the story I felt was a bit rushed. There were a lot of things that weren't explained that you just kind of had to assume for yourself, and I think it would have been better if there's more explanation if it was a bit longer. Then Marvel 1602 by Neil Gaiman, which bored me and was the last graphic novel I read. And it's about all the Marvel characters at the end of Queen Elizabeth's reign and the beginning of James I's reign. Yeah, just boring. It was really boring. Then I read Bone, volumes 1 to 9. Fantastic. This is I think it's geared towards middle grade. It's a Scholastic comic by Jeff Smith, and it is amazing. It is such a great story, and it appeals to all ages. It's kind of like that watching children's movies as an adult and getting all those kind of jokes that you didn't get as a kid. That's happens in Bone, and it's just about these 3 bone creatures who get exiled and stumble upon this village and adventure. And their characters are just so funny. There's a lot of humor, but there's also a lot of depth to the story as well. It is really, really good. I urge you all to go out and buy this, especially if you are a fantasy fan, because it's amazing. And the best one, I know I've talked that one up, but the best graphic novel I read was definitely The Cage by Martin Vaughn James. This is from 1975. Again, not your classic graphic novel. There's pictures and then texts, and no human characters, and it's all very quite strange. Sometimes you only get like a few lines, and sometimes you'll get like paragraphs, and it's all kind of weird. It doesn't really make sense until you start getting further along and you go, oh, this could refer to that and that could refer to this, and I regret not making notes as I went along, so I'm gonna have to reread this and try and assemble my thoughts on it in a better manner. So that's what I read in August. What was your favorite book that you read in August, your favorite graphic novel? And thank you for watching.